Head to the voicemail of Truth and Reason.
I don't know why our Browns news reporters are saying that we should get any other quarterback besides Shedeur Sanders because, quote unquote, he has a bad arm or his arm isn't the best, but he's the same guy who has the third most 20 yards or more completion in the NCAA. And you're saying that you don't feel like he's not a good deep ball thrower? And in my opinion, he's one of the best deep ball throwers in this draft. And we need to take him.
As always, appreciate all of the voicemails. Let's welcome in Spencer German from 92.3 The Fan and the Browns on SI. Spencer, the arm strength relative to NFL throws isn't great. It's average-ish. It might be a little bit above average. Here's the thing. Shedeur Sanders excels in things you can't measure and can't see on tape. Guy's tough, played with a terrible offensive line, took a hit, processes pretty well, smart, is used to being the leader, the face. So again, the average yards of completion, you can't look at stats like that because it doesn't translate. The defenses he was seeing in the Big 12, they're not like he's going to see in the NFL. Doesn't mean he can't do it, but that's why people are questioning it. What are your thoughts on Sanders?
Yeah, so I'll start with the fact that, I think there is evidence to the caller's point that he can make some of those throws. He might just not be able to do it as effectively as somebody like Cam Ward, who at this point is the consensus number one quarterback in this draft class. And for obvious reasons, the arm strength is one of those things. And that's okay. I've kind of been saying, if Shedeur Sanders, I've heard kind of comped to in last year's class, Bo Nix. And if you're the Browns, we've spent a lot of time asking or wondering, can they find their Jaden Daniels in this class? And the answer has mostly been no. But if you get a Bo Nix in this class, that's okay too. Bo Nix took Denver to the playoffs this past year, and I think they feel pretty good about the fact that with Bo Nix, they have a pretty good future quarterback as long as Sean Payton's there sort of pulling the strings and he's the right fit for their offense. And I think Shedeur Sanders can be the same thing for Kevin Stefanski. I think he's a perfect fit. And I'll tell you, the more he talks, and I know people don't like when he talks sometimes because they think he comes off a certain type of way, but the more he talks and I hear him talk about just his confidence and why he's going to excel at the next level, I want him more for the Browns. And that doesn't mean I want him necessarily more than Cam. I think if the Browns are sitting there too and they have both on the table, I would take Cam Ward because I think he's the better prospect and the better talent. But if it comes to, okay, Cam's gone and you could take Shedeur Sanders, I think you pull the trigger because he continues to cite the fact that everywhere he's been, Jackson State, Colorado, he's turned those programs around and he's embraced this idea that, he's going to he knows he's going to go to a team in the NFL that wasn't very good last year. And he welcomes that. He wants that. And I do think there's a level of confidence and that sort of charisma and attitude that has to come with whatever quarterback the Browns draft because, there is pressure to be the first franchise quarterback for this team since Bernie Kosar. And I guess you could argue Baker was on that trajectory, but never quite got there because they moved on. So I think that lures me to him more. I've started to like the idea of him even more, so much so that if they end up taking one or the other, I can understand why, and I think I'd be okay with it. That can't be the only reason you draft somebody, obviously, but I think he can do it. The other things that you mentioned, well, that and it fits Kevin Stefanski's offense, that it would work with either quarterback, if they were to have the opportunity to draft either one. But I'm sold on Shedeur at this point. If he ends up being the pick, I think that could work for the Browns.
Yeah, they talk about him being brash and arrogant. I want that in my quarterback. That's that. Yeah. As long as his teammates like him and he's coachable, give me the brash, arrogant guy 12 out of 12 times. To your point, if he's there and Cam's there, Cam has a higher ceiling just because of the physical skill set. So you go with the higher ceiling. But I'm with you. Brash and arrogant in a quarterback, I sign up for that. I like that.
Well, and I'll say real quick, Dave, we just spent the last week, I guess the last couple of days, Myles Garrett obviously spoke on Friday. And, we just spent the last couple of days sort of rehashing, asking the questions about if Myles is a leader on this team. And it kind of feels like the Browns need somebody like that because Myles isn't that outwardly passionate guy who's like giving the speeches and necessarily in front of everybody. But I think Shedeur can be that. Like, I think he could really give this locker room and this team a sense of direction that they haven't really had from a player leadership standpoint. I think that's also very valuable.